morning. Another day with lots of crap. Yeah. I don't know. Sweat on today's sometimes. Oh man, I gotta. All these microphones get tight. I don't need this right now. I don't know what this is or where it came from, but 45 minutes. Whoa. Is this Portuguese? Yeah, it is Portuguese. Yeah, this is a radio station recording from Macau. Where's that? Oh yeah, open the chat. Just in case anyone comes, there's going to be a Spaces that starts in a few minutes, so. Oh, I am talking to people makes me so tired. Like, been going out and then I come back in and I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to go on here. I need to talk about teia.
Confesso que adorei o concerto. A palavra em si como centro nevrálgico da performance sob camisas brancas gigantes. Mostrei-lhe a cidade do Porto. Estamos juntos numa foto tirada na Serra do Pilar, com vistas inesquecíveis.
Não cabe mais nas roupas que eu cabia. Não encho mais a casa de alegria. Os anos passaram enquanto eu dormia.
extasiado com as capas da minha coleção de LPs. Subitamente, vira-se para Arnaldo e pergunta: papai, por que é que aqui se chama Porto e Portugal? Eu ri e observei: filho de peixe, peixinho é, como se diz lá no Brasil, referindo-me ao mesmo interesse sonoro que o pequeno Vrado tinha, tal como o pai, pelas palavras poeta, a encaixar sílabas como se fossem peças de puzzle.
Tire a mão da consciência e meta no cabaço da cabeça. Tire a mão da consciência e ponha no buraco da vergonha. Tire a mão e ponha o corpo todo no corpo da consciência. Põe ouvido, orelha, a língua, a boca na cara da consciência. E o umbigo na barriga dela. Ponha olhos no colírio dela. Ponha tripas na barriga dela. Ponha olhos nos óculos dela. O cabelo pela pele é perna, traça carne, sangue, pensa. A madeira, o nervo, a unha, a terra, água, o leite, o peito, pensa. O plástico, o fogo, o estômago, o aço, o osso, o coração, o cigarro, chiclete, o pano, o papel, a coluna, a vértebra, o músculo, o vidro, o fígado, caga da pedra, pensa. Tira a mão da consciência e meta a mão na consistência. Tira a mão da consciência e meta a mão na consistência. Tira a mão da consciência e meta a mão na consistência. Tira a mão da consciência e meta no cabaço da cabeça. Tira a mão da consciência e ponha na cabeça da vergonha. Tira a mão da consciência e meta no cabaço da cabeça. Põe oxigênio, gás carbônico no ar da consciência. E comida na barriga dela. Ponha olhos nas lágrimas dela. E ossos por dentro da carne, carne por dentro da pele dela. Tira a mão da consciência e meta a mão na consistência. Tira a mão da consciência e meta a mão se a gente não sabe se ama e não se decide que quer, a dúvida nos desinforma enquanto a gente não se der. Se algo entre nós se anuncia e não se disfarça sequer, não dá pra deixar pro outro dia de outra semana qualquer. É que o amor não se dissolve assim, sem dor, se não for até o fim.
Consciência. Entre copinhos de vinho do Porto, parafraseamos Erzapral. A função da arte é nutri-lo de impulsos. Brincamos com registros de emissão local, que foram do grito ao sussurro, mistura de sensações, ação teatral e música, numa simultaneidade de discursos e raciocínios, ele e eu, possibilitando distintos planos de apreensão de várias linguagens.
Me deixe sim, mas só se for pra ir ali e pra voltar. Me deixe sim, meu grão de amor, mas nunca deixe de me amar. Agora as noites são tão longas, no escuro eu penso em te encontrar. Me deixe só até a hora de voltar. Me esqueça sim, pra não sofrer, pra não chorar, pra não sentir. Me esqueça sim, que eu quero ver você tentar sem conseguir. A cama agora está tão fria, ainda sinto seu calor. Me esqueça sim, mas nunca esqueça o meu amor. É só você que vem no meu cantar, meu bem. É só pensar que vem. Me cobre 1000 telefonemas, depois me cubra de paixão. Me pegue bem, misture alma e coração.
That's the hood for you. Oh man.
Me deixe sim, mas só se for pra ir ali e pra voltar. Me deixe sim, meu
Oh man. It's getting to the point where I can't even keep up.
de me amar. Agora as noites são tão longas, no escuro eu penso em te encontrar. Me deixe só até a hora de voltar. É só você que vem no meu cantar, meu bem. É só pensar que vem. Lá, 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 lá. Me cobre 1000 telefonemas, depois me cubra de paixão. Me pegue bem, misture alma e coração.
Grão de amor.
I guess I should be happy I'm getting traction.
Com aquela
But
família, a minha sala como ficou contaminada por vocábulos que se eliminavam
Starting soon.
rodopiando
Starting
no
soon.
cerco que alastrava das paredes do quarto. Às tantas, o modo da conversa era a desordem, passando-me a perceber na intimidade o virtuosismo de Arnaldo nos tons e nas formas com que faz a ponte entre diferentes diálogos, entre diferentes códigos, derrubando obstáculos entre géneros, misturando a simples complexidade dos elementos. Na linguagem, como no estilo, Arnaldo Antunes cria fluente trânsito entre variadas criações artísticas e, entre mais um copinho de vinho do Porto, uma comum sede de estranhamento e de originalidade.
This radio thing is very relaxing. I don't know what they're saying, but it's got the radio voice going. Is that a trombone? Oh, yeah. All right, it's starting. Pauses for a second. I'm probably just gonna listen in. Might even turn off my mic. Who knows?
Tezos comments. We can let people trickle in here. Thank you for joining us, Ryan. Great to see you today. Kryptonio, welcome. Thank you for being here, as always. And Mal, welcome to the room. We'll get you up here soon, and we'll get things started. And again, thank you guys so much for being here for another Artsy Friday with Tezos Comments. Really excited to chat with Mal today. Make sure to retweet the room. Make sure people know we are here. It's going to be a good chat about super artsy things across the board. Kryptonio, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. What about you?
Pretty good. Excited to get into the weekend and make some art. And, this is what I look forward to every week. It looks like we have Mal up here as a speaker. How are you doing today?
I am fabulous. How are you?
I'm doing great. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here so timely, as always.
I do
Welcome
try.
to the room, Matt and La Chica and Randall.
Timely,
Thank you all for joining.
timely.
Really appreciate you. We're about to chat with Malicious Sheep about all the various talents and trades and excursions and experiences that you can experience through their art. Really, really excited because I feel like the last time we chat, we didn't really have time to get into the artsy details as much as I would have liked to. Also,
gonna
welcome
mute
to the room,
myself.
Grit. Make sure to let people know we're here, guys. Anyway, Mal, would you like to introduce yourself to the room?
Sure. So for anybody who doesn't know me, I am Malicious Sheep. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, photographer, vocalist, poet, gamer, and community organizer within the Tezos ecosystem, particularly for Teia, the nonprofit DAO LLC art marketplace, which is volunteer powered and community owned. I feel like that's a good intro.
You've got that down to like a straight up elevator pitch. I love it.
One breath. It's perfect.
Yeah, that was like a text. Actually, well, frankly, do you mind doing that again? I want to appreciate that. Like that's just a perfect elevator pitch that everybody should like take note of.
Mm-hmm. Well,
You
you
don't
got.
actually have to.
I
I'm
know.
just teasing you.
You got to incorporate when you're a multidisciplinary artist. You got to incorporate all of the layers because, like, there's facets there, right?
Oh, absolutely. As we said in the gym thread, multifaceted is a great way to describe A lot of the people in the Tezos community, frankly, the more and more we interview, it's like these are not just artists or just builders or just moms, or everybody is so dynamic, you know. And
Absolutely.
again, let's see who else just joined. Oh, thank you for being here, Ablokus. I apologize if I just butchered your name, but thank you for joining us. So, Mal, as far as most recently, I know that you've been doing a lot of gaming streams, and I'm wondering if maybe you want to talk about that for a minute, since this is kind of something that we never have gotten to in the past.
Sure. It's one of my favorite things. So happy
Yeah,
to.
what's interesting.
Um, Go ahead.
I just real quick to preface, like I've actually had the pleasure of gaming with Mel, and you have a very unique grace, is the word that comes to mind about how you game. Um, and I wanted to plug that word because, I've been talking about it in the recent article about moderation, which is another topic I think we have a lot in common with. But anyway, yeah, let's hear about your gaming streams for a moment.
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate you very much for those kind words. I have been gaming since I was a wee child, very small. Um, First game I ever played was Mario. I had the illusion as a child, because I didn't understand any better, that every time Mario died, an actual little man was dying. And so it was very stressful. I used to be like, Dad, help me. I can't get over this pit. He keeps dying. Um, but over the years, I've played on many, many, many systems. And I love the retro games. And that is what I've been focusing my streams on Twitch. You can find me at Malicious Sheep 56 over there if you're interested. I do retro streams with N64 and SNES games where I narrate everything that's going on in different character voices, which I find very fun. And I have what's called RetroTink to add the lovely scan lines of, you know, the retro vibes that are definitely needed for
Oh,
those
so
games.
just to clarify, when you're playing those games, you add scan lines or you're just showcasing
Hmm.
them?
It is an additional tool that I have because I'm playing on console. While you're watching me stream, I'm playing on the
Ah,
old consoles, which is then fed through a device called a RetroTink, which adds
nice.
scan lines in. I could also make it black and white if I wanted to. There's other features on the RetroTink which are also amazing. But the games were built for scan lines. Like you try and play a retro game on a modern TV, it's all like blocky and chunky, and you can't really see the magic that was there. The scan lines put that
Huh.
back.
That's
So I
interesting. I
am
bet it
playing
would be.
on console. Hmm.
I haven't seen those since I was a kid. I bet it would be pretty nostalgic, actually. Um,
Hmm. Very much so.
N64 was definitely my jam.
Yeah.
So as far as like, what's your favorite game as far as N64? Just curious. To stream.
The Zelda games. I'm a mega Zelda nerd. I love Zelda so much. I have just finished the Ocarina of Time game, and I'm now into Majora's Mask, which I also love because it's time based and like there's so many excellent puzzles in there, and you got to socialize with people. It's nice. Um, and so many cool masks because that's also fun. Um, but I also have, I think the total is 12 or 13 ROM hacks of Zelda that I found on my perusings of the internet interwebs, where folks have made homebrew Zeldas using the code-based infrastructure of the game itself, and then um, redesigned new worlds, new storylines. And I'm
That's
really excited to get into those.
Yeah. See, that's where I really get into the thought process of like gaming as an art,
Hmm.
and I feel like those older games, anything that like showcases the pixels and the rawness, I do feel like there's something really special, like a kind of reminder there that for people that forget the art that goes behind gaming. And
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree.
that follows with a question, which is that your self portrait for people of Tezos. When in context, I'm talking to you about Zelda and looking at that portrait and its animation, I have to wonder all of a sudden, was there some Zelda influence in how you animated it?
Uh, kind of, I guess. It's so there's like Wind Waker, which is it's gives the illusion of like a watercolor painting or like paper-based sprites. Um, but yeah, I feel like a lot of the design. Well, firstly, the torso portion was actually a commission, and then I did the rest of it, um, which I did note in the description, and added all the color and things. Um, but I wanted to, because like everybody knows me just as my voice, like nobody knows what I look like. So, um, I wanted to, have this mm, flattened illustrative version of myself. This is also similarly to how I paint, though I do have it a little bit more three-dimensional. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed how it was framed. Um, and of course, there is a little Zelda Easter egg in there in one of my pins.
I felt something Zelda going on there. It
Yeah,
also the
got
the
the
way
Eye
you
of Truth in there. Yeah.
well, that's awesome. And just real
Hmm.
quick, welcome to the room, First Rain and Tezos event calendar, and MB and Chris and Blangs and United Saints. A bunch of new people. And again, just a reminder to retweet the space. We're gonna have some great chats here. As far as the gaming goes, um, how do you do you have any visions of how what you're doing with gaming and streaming will eventually tie into your Tezos community building, or is it something separate on purpose?
I would like it to be integrated. I am not a dev, but I do love following the journeys of the game makers on Tezos, such as Not a Number and Retro Manny, and of course Tan, um, who I beta tested within an inch of my life, her most recent game, which was a pleasure. And yeah, I want to utilize the infrastructure of Tezos to hopefully integrate gaming and gaming culture more into Tezos in a good way, because there is a lot of wonderful ways in which all of the components that go into gaming could find a home on Tezos. So anything from like character design, GLB, um, object building, and like metaverse related things, the quickness for transactions and blocks, storage, uh, things like Teia's copyright feature, where you could like delineate where
Mm-hmm.
you would like to have your artworks or your creations presented. So you could have it specifically for video games with attribution or, things like this. Voice work,
That's why I that's
right?
why I wondered and I asked, is because it does seem like things that you are very much a part of are building towards it.
Mm-hmm.
In little nuanced ways that are often overlooked. Is great plug on the copywriting. That's one of those things that um, I really think once it's actually stomachable, something that's fully like hashed out and people can learn by doing it, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's going to be a big game changer for sure.
I think so too.
Um, and great point as far as for gaming assets. I think that is one of the missing links that we've been facing without even realizing it.
Mm-hmm. And I think too with gaming, like it also incorporates another one of my loves, which is voice acting. And I really believe that there will be opportunities for me to integrate myself into indie game spheres and work on projects and beta test, because beta testing is also one of my favorite things. I just love to do it. I love to find all the broken things and point them out. And I like to, bridge accessibility. So that's one of the things that I was doing when I was beta testing Tantan's game, was like pointing out the different layers in which accessibility could be improved, so that all of what she was trying to get across with her work, because like she does video games as art, like what the context and the story and the impact that she was trying to get the audience to achieve, there were ways that that was just not quite possible in the way that it was set up. And so then I provided feedback on how to make that an easier experience, so that more people would be more fully engaged with it. And I think that is a wonderful thing. I also think with gaming too, like I need to play more. I
Oh yeah.
spent so long not playing games. I had Breath of the Wild in its package on my shelf for 5 years because I didn't have the time. And now I've made the time to game because I need to. It has really unlocked parts of my brain that had been very dormant for a long time, and I'm really excited about it.
And I do think that there is a lot of clarity that can be had by, especially like people like us and the people, most of the people in this room, we're artists. You know, like our brains don't shut off, and we do what we love for a living, at least ideally. So it's like, at least I know I have all these. Many times I'll stop and be like, okay, I want to relax now. But relaxing is doing what I've already been doing all day, just with a different mindset. So like it's really hard to turn off, and gaming offers that outlet for that mindset where you can finally just get lost in a task oriented relaxing thing.
Exactly. And you know, as well as anybody else who's played with me, especially our graders, you can see how my brain works.
Mm,
I'm like,
yeah.
where are your quests? What quests? Okay, here we go. I'm mapping out our map for this round. Like, this is where we're gonna find this item. This is where, you know, this is more of like a pinch point. Like, we've got to be cautious here. You know, new arc comes in. I am in there like a dirty shirt, figuring out how to kill it fast, so that I can provide context for other people who are coming in. They're like, I can't lose another kid. I just built this. It took me 20 minutes. Um, but it's
It
good fun.
is. It's interesting how invested we can get, but it is still like it's games. You know, like
Hmm.
it's like a different
Gotta
type
play.
of seriousness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Anyway, I just
I
saw a couple.
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Just wanted to say, oh no, they left right as I was about to say hello to them.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all right. Ribbiter looked like a really cool account. That was just a bunch listed off a bunch of things I like. I was like, this person seems cool.
Hmm.
Anyway, I was gonna say hello, and they left right as I was going to.
Fair, fair.
So again, from gaming and streaming, like one of the things I found very interesting about, I don't think I knew this, is the way that you say you're narrating and kind of making content beyond just streaming the game. What it reminded me of when you said it, my brain went straight to the guy on TikTok that narrates his three cats and gives them like like a sitcom of their own.
I love this.
And frankly, it's intriguing. That makes me want to actually like stop and finally sit and watch one of your gaming streams. Apologies, I haven't yet.
Yeah, it is a good time. I put on character voices for each of the characters as well, which is extra fun. Um, and I'll do some layer of like guided tour. So like I'll describe where I am and like what I'm seeing for anybody who may be listening who is either non-sighted or partially sighted, to try and make it a little bit more accessible. I could do better on that, honestly. I also got to figure out how to make closed captions a thing. on there. I'm sure I'll figure it out.
This
But
is something that I've always found really charming. Um, is that like in today's world, I feel like so many people just don't try at all.
hmm
And you're constantly trying and still hard on yourself that you're not trying hard enough.
that's
And
fair.
again, that it's kind of a Tezos community trait
hmm
overall, but like you definitely are one of those people that I feel like showcases it loudly.
hmm Well, I do love to enable. It's one of my favorite things. And if I can combine that with video games and voice acting, I'm winning. um, but yeah, I do character voices and play around and goof off. And sometimes I'm just doing something ridiculous, and then I get into the chatting with folks who are hanging out and stuff. And everybody seems to like it, which I am glad for. Um, I do have a lot of fun with it, especially coming up with like new voices. Like, if there's like suddenly like six characters, I'm like, okay, let's let's figure out how we're gonna do this. What
Do
is
you
everybody gonna
also
sound like?
Are you also taking these shorts and making I mean shaking these clips and making shorts out of them or any sort of anything like what that made me think of with the guy on TikTok and the cats?
Not as of yet, but that is in the plans. I do have an external hard drive which has all of my streams so far on, so I'll be able to clip those nicely. Um, yeah, it's pretty fun, and like it 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 is drawn from another accessibility story. So my dad is dyslexic, and so I did not play sports. I was not a sports fan. I was, but I fell over way too much for my parents to even consider putting me in any sports. They're like, just sit down. I'm like, okay. But they're like, here, this is something that you might enjoy. And they got me video game systems. And so instead of them going to my games in like a park, they'd go to my games every evening after school when they got home from work, and they'd be like my little cheer squad. But because my dad was dyslexic, he couldn't keep up with the text that was coming on the screen. So I, even as a young child, understood this and would read it out for him. And sometimes like I'd come across a word where, especially if it was very small, I'd be like stumbling over it. My mom would help me with figuring out how, like, what the word was and its context. Um, but there weren't that many of them because, like, by I don't know, I think it was in like grade three when was already able to spell anti-disestablishmentarianism. So, um, it was great for reading comprehension, especially when I was playing more elaborate games like Final Fantasy or Legend of Dragoon, where it is very story based. And you have to, connect with all of the characters in order to find like all of the NPCs to figure out clues and be able to retain all of that information and then be able to make it back in order to solve the puzzle. So that was always really good. So and now I'm streaming with terrible internet, I might add, but allegedly there is an installation happening this year of fiber on my road. The township says that they have their permit now. So once we have fiber, I will be streaming all of the games, not just the retro ones. Retro ones are tolerable if it's a little bit glitchy because it is pixelated to begin with. But like I did a test stream of Arc Raiders the other day, and about I don't know, like 30% of the gameplay was actually visible. Like if you want like a psychedelic trip experience without the drugs, maybe watch that back. um, yeah, it was still fun, but not the quality that I would want for anybody who's coming to hang out. So sticking to the retro games for now, and then when that fiber is installed, we will get into everything else. And I'm looking forward to that.
That's really cool. And it's a great example of like that out of necessity you're doing something that still works. And sorry, I'm tripping about the fiber thing because it blows my mind that people that we're still laying fiber optic cables. Um, I was just writing about that a couple weeks ago and how that's like a big portion of our internet history.
Yeah, my upload speed is zero point 0.3 megabytes per second for anybody who understands what that means and can weep with me. That is, it's a miracle I'm here, honestly.
Yeah,
But yeah.
that really is wow. The fact that you're even able to like do as much as you do on that kind of an internet is commendable. Um, so okay, so the thing that obviously is the most prominent when any of you go to Mal's object or Tia profile is the photography. You know, that seems to be like priority one thing you've done the longest. Correct me if I'm wrong, but let's talk about some photography.
That is true. I started out with the photography. I've dabbled in a little bit of painting. I've done one digital art animation, which you mentioned already, which was my self portrait for the people of Tezos. Um, and yeah, I work in pretty much every medium you can imagine, including like fiber work and metal work and time-based art and performance and dance and song and whatever is calling out of my bones to do at the time is what I will do. But photography is the most accessible for me, and I spent several years using photography as a tool for myself to rebuild all of my muscle. So for folks who don't know, when I was in university for 1 year before I had to leave, I went from 185 pounds down to 125 pounds in a month, and then spent the majority of my time that was not sleeping, which was 18 hours a day, being shuttled around to specialists, MRIs, blood work, all of the things to try and figure out what the hell was wrong with me. A big shrug was the answer, until the year before COVID, where we found out I was immunocompromised or immunodeficient. Not even immunocompromised, but immunodeficient. I'm missing a part of my immune system, which makes me a bubble person. But when I wasted and lost all of my fat and muscle, I became unable to move myself very well. And so I used photography as a motivating creative tool to get outside for as long as I could tolerate, take photographs. As soon as I got tired, I'd sit down on the ground for 15 minutes to rest, and then I'd get back up, I'd go back inside and spend the rest of the day learning about everything I had photographed, which also feeds my citizen scientist brain well, because that was another track that little old Mal might have taken, was environmental technologist. So with my photography, I do in situ, which means I don't stage it. There's no artificial lighting. I don't edit my photos. It's all straight from the scene to the camera. Then I shrink it down for the sake of my internet, make it a smaller file in Photoshop, and then I send it along through the minting process, and usually accompany the work with a poem. But yeah, and so all of my photographs are just my little ramblings. They're from the time that I started rebuilding my body many years ago now to current time when I do have time to do some photography still. And it's always a pleasure because I aim to capture my symptomology through palette and texture. I also am fascinated with biomimetics. And so anytime that I find something that is like similar to like a man-made object, it's a happy day. Just like the natural forms. If you think of, for example, a burr and how that is related to Velcro, that was the inspiration for Velcro. And there are other examples of that. Or tiny worlds. Like if it looks like a scene that a human could be walking through, but it's like teeny tiny. I find that very, very enriching for myself. I'll often pair palettes and things throughout time and pair contexts Sometimes I'll stumble on a scene. I'm like, oh, I have a picture that looks exactly like this, but in the inverse, I'm going to take a picture of this now, and I'm going to go find that in my hard drive, pair it together. And I've also been experimenting with stereoscopic photography as well, which, if folks haven't checked out what that is, you should. Not everybody can see it. You can get glasses that allow you to see it, but you more or less kind of cross your eyes a little bit, and it makes two images side by side pop into a single image that's in 3D. And I have
I
4
remember
pieces
us
currently
talking
minted for
about
that.
that. I think
Hmm.
that was one of the pieces I picked for. I think we did a gym thread about a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's one of the pieces we talked about was one of your stereoscopic ones, and I
Hmm.
still haven't been able to get my eyes to do the thing.
It's tricky. I have an abnormal control over my eyes. Like I can flex my pupils at will and see twice as far as a normal human. So like sometimes my body does cool things. Other times it's like we're sleeping now. I'm sorry.
So,
This is not happening.
so before I forget, I have a genuine curiosity about the photos I selected for the gym thread,
Hmm.
especially with like the process that you described. I'm even more curious. Starting with the moon, s- uh, this piece really feels like there must have been some sort of post edit, especially when you consider, um, like what you were saying about struggling to move your body.
Hmm.
So this piece in that way, all of a sudden it's speaking to your progress, I think, based off of what I understand about photography. I think you were doing light painting here. Is that what that is?
So in this case, this is an edited one. So on my on-chain
I
stuff, I
gotcha.
do edit them. Yes.
I'm kidding.
But this one, the moon itself, I did not edit, right? I've just taken in Photoshop, I've taken the blend tool and clipped it and dragged it across.
Huh.
So not anything too fancy, but I wanted to give the illusion of um, the movement of time
Mm-hmm.
um, within the context of this piece. There's also a couple other pieces that I did a rework of a previous collection that I did, which is on Teia. It was my Pride Protest Florals series, and I reworked that series with the same technique that I was playing around with, and I was like, "This looks really nice. I'm enjoying this. It's soothing. It's giving the illusion of like kind of what my brain does when I'm looking at stuff. It's like the you know um, most people are able to see in their mind's eye. If you say an apple, think of an apple. Most people can see in their mind's eye. Some people can't see it at all. What I can do is I can see it and place it in my environment. I can rotate it. I can take it apart. Like, so I can put things on my environment. I can
Yeah.
watch my garden grow in my mind and figure out, I might not plant that there. I'll plant it over here. And say, yeah, that's a better spot for it. But with this piece, um, so again, a little bit more of my medical history for anybody interested. One of the things that I was dealing with for a very long time was hand tremors. And so when I was taking all of my photographs, my hands were shaking all over the damn place. And what I had to do was to like stiffen my body and like go in like a pendulum motion and like in the syncopation of it all, like click the clear image to try and because otherwise it's just all blur. And one of my fellow photographers, Joshua K. Flynn, he asked because he knew about my hand tremors. He's like, "Why can't I see your hand tremors in your photographs?" And I was like, "Oh, that's some internalized ableism. I didn't think anybody would want to see blurry photographs because I don't know why." Um, so I immediately went outside and took photographs of the moon. You can see this in my moon tremor series. That was what my hand tremors were like. Um, just taking photographs of the moon.
Hmm.
Since then, my hand tremors have more or less stopped. I've been treating myself with lion's mane like a guinea pig. and it's worked. And so when I've taken this photograph of the moon for She Bleeds, there's no tripod. It's handheld photograph of the moon, and I'm very pleased with it.
You should be proud of being able to capture such a crystal clear representation, and then on top of that, you tricked the viewer in the right way.
Hmm.
And that's what I was kind of getting at. Is it almost seemed like how could you have so steadily painted that light, right? It's a
Hmm.
perfect horizontal line. So it makes
Hmm.
sense now that you describe it that it isn't that,
Hmm.
but it also kind of adds some cool depth to the artsiness of the photo,
Hmm.
and how it was composed.
Yeah.
And with that, even I feel like now that I know that, I gotta guess that the random two streaks that are outside of that symmetry are representative of your hand trimmer.
No, those are stars.
Those are stars.
Those are
So
stars.
it's like the stars streaking, and that's so interesting because this is what I
Hmm.
love about art is like I take this chance, especially with the gem threads. I don't reach out to the artists and ask them questions when I write these gem threads intentionally. I want to be wrong. I want to showcase the multiple interpretations. I want to take those risks. And that's why personally have grown to really enjoy talking about the gem threads with the artist, because it kind of reveals that duality, that
Hmm.
multi interpretation, and but then enables you, the artist, to kind of be like, no, this is what actually happened here.
Hmm.
It's a really cool full circle.
Yeah, for sure. And in a way, you are correct because of the Moon Tremor series. If anybody wants to take a look at that, that's available on Object. It's not on Teia. It's a standalone collection that I made a couple of years ago. And I was what people consider to be light painting was just me trying, like, just photographing while letting my hand tremors go free, and so it just looks like brush strokes, more or less. And all of those pieces are accompanied with a poem about the moon, which is my favorite thing. Um, and
Absolutely. If you want to read any of your poetry today,
oh,
just
sure.
you're welcome to read the piece that goes along with this moon art photo if you would like as well.
Hmm. Yeah, this one, the shorter piece. I usually do like lengthy poems, so it's probably more conducive for time. Um, but yeah, with the light painting, um, with the hand tremors, like I wanted to incorporate like how in this piece how rigid I was being with myself, my body, and my practice through that internalized ableism, and like reflect on that with a very rigid digital tool. And like I'm able to now take a clear photograph of the moon without having to do that reverse syncopation and the compensation in order to make a clarified image. But I wanted to incorporate that moment in time for me where the lengthy moment in time where like I did not have much control over my hands. So, yeah,
So
it's
I
very
just want
cool.
to touch on the phrase you said twice,
Hmm.
internalized ableism.
Hmm.
And just for the audience, kind of just quickly dissect what you're saying there because it's deep and meaningful,
Sure.
which is that as an artist, we all have to have this internal process of deciding what is us and where we're compromising,
Hmm.
and where we might be sacrificing too much of ourselves. And what I believe Mal is saying here is that they didn't even realize that they were being anti themselves by
Hmm.
trying to fix a thing that by fixing was like ableism, in the sense that
Yes.
like you are a natural light painter and weren't owning that.
Hmm. Yeah. So, for anybody who doesn't know the term ableism, it is related to disability or physical difference, and it is the oppression, either external or internal, of someone's identity or ability ability to participate based on things that are outside of the bell curve as normal TM. So folks are often medicalized. Many other forms of prejudices are rooted in ableism within medicalization, such as women are hysterical, that Black people are aggressive, that queer people are contaminants. This kind of medicalization of elements of a person's identity allows for those identities to be more controlled and policed. And so in fact, what I was doing was policing myself to be more normal, because my art would not be valued or worth looking at if what it was not what people were expecting within this normal TM frame. To be fair, there is nothing normal. Normal does not actually exist. Everybody is part of a bell curve in multiple aspects of their life. I tend to sit on the edge of the bell curve in most things. And so I have spent a lot of time doing disability justice. If anybody's interested, you should check it out too. There's disability
Hello,
justice
Zero-
principles. There's 10 of
Zero
them.
Hunter.
They're fabulous.
How's it going?
And you can
was
start
a
to
few
unpack
minutes ago,
ways in which you might
You're
be
still there.
experiencing some internalized ableism, or even external ableism, where you're putting that on others. You know, expectations of what is normal. And it's
this
only
is,
been like 30 years since people have seen disabled people out in public, because they used to catch us and put us in warehouses and group homes and institutions, and nobody ever saw from us again. So it's a new thing.
And I gotta say, whether whether somebody identifies as neurodivergent or whatever the thing is that you categorize yourself as, there's no reason why you can't reflect on this concept of how you might be robbing yourself of like being okay with who you are. It's hard to put that into words, but overall, it's something that as artists we all face every time we sit down to make art. Is this battle between what is wanted and what we need.
Agreed, fully and wholeheartedly. Chronically ill, immunocompromised, neurodivergent, and disabled. There is, and this is a conservative estimate, 20% of the global population is disabled. Most people don't identify as disabled because they feel as though they're choosing some sort of victim mentality, when to be disabled is not like an internal state. To be disabled means you are being disabled by something, and that something is society. The antithesis of disable is not able, it is enable. And society does not enable the majority of disabled people. So much so that it's often punished in some areas of the world, including North America, where disability is seen as more of a punishment for failure to work. And the disability experience is, the inevitable punishment of that failure to fall into line for capitalist purposes.
Yes, it's where the dark side really shows itself very loudly.
Yes, exactly. And most people don't even realize that they're disabled. So like everybody who wears glasses without those glasses is disabled. But with those glasses, they are so enabled that they are no longer impeded in their day-to-day life.
It's a very core foundational example of what you're trying to say. And the problem is at the end of the day, there's no eye doctor to give this one unique brand of like disability based on society the glasses they need. And that lack of prescription and lack of enabling, as you so well put, is not the individual's fault. It's not their failure. It's society's failure.
Exactly. And often disabled people will overperform to compensate for internalized ableist feelings such as, I am a burden.
Right? Oh,
I
yeah.
am not worthy of care. The world would be better off without me, which is a very common thing for
Absolutely.
disabled folks, right?
I think it's a common thing for
many folks.
for humaning, like
For humaning, for sure. Yeah.
But okay, speaking of, that's a good
Mhm.
segue into this next photo I want to talk about. Because now that we know, as far as I accidentally picked two of your fully on chain artworks. So here lies the artist. I find amusing, real, layered, and I'm curious how you came about this. What I believe is mixed media, as far as like the words on the tombstone. But where was this? How'd you capture this? And how did it end up as it is now?
So this photograph is of a brick from a what the hell was it called? A patio. It's a patio stone that had been removed and chucked to the side in the fall, the previous year, and was sticking up out of overgrown herbs and grasses. And on Photoshop, I added in the words. So I did do digital additions to this one too. But to me, it felt, because I was considering a lot related to death, as related to my nan who had passed. I provided her palliative care for 3 years and was her end of life care team. So to me, it like rose up as though it was a gravestone. I had not had the opportunity to go to see my nan at her grave. I did not get to go to her funeral. I am a bubble person. I cannot go, even though I was the one to give the eulogy. But with this piece, when the prompt for this group collection came up, I was like, I know precisely what I'm going to go photograph, and I waddled outside and found this, and was very pleased to see that it had been overgrown so beautifully. So artists are often given opportunities that are unpaid because they get exposure, as though exposure puts food on their table. And you get enough exposure, you will starve to death if you're not getting a steady paycheck. And so, I wanted to have a little playful joust with the concept that an artist receiving exposure is enough for their labor. Most soft skills, as they're called, or art-based things aren't valued or prioritized in the same way that other skill sets are within capitalism. Generally, cruelty begets the bigger dollar within capitalism, as we know. And a lot of artists that I know aren't that particularly cruel. They're trying to unpack cruelty and the layers of the human existence that are affected by such things. And so they're often not paid for that, unfortunately.
They're also kind and willing to do things for reasons other than pay, which is why we kind of enable our own demise in that sense. I gotta say, this piece really is it's really great to me personally. Before all of this, I was a gigging singer-songwriter, playing cover gigs in the corners, and this piece reminds me of so many frustrating moments of my first career. That at the end of the day, it's one of the reasons I jumped into something else and tried to find a new path because I wanted to be able to not fight the exposure-based experiences and actually just be able to go enjoy playing my music for people. So that was something that just kind of came up as I was looking at this photo and writing about it. And I do want to hear your poem on this one, if that's okay. But I also want to read to the room this one little bit that I wrote in the gym thread, which is that we can't eat exposure. We are not plants. Yet we will inevitably become fertilizer in the soil. You know, and each time that you drop a piece like this, anybody that in the space can rest assured that it's going to have that kind of layered accompaniment, and like you said, the poetry. So are you willing to read us the piece that goes with this?
Yes, I gotta find it because the poem situation is bad. Oh, well, it's good. I have over 300 poems, and I'm not sure if it's on this device. I might just have to open up the link, and then I have to track down said link. So it might take me a few minutes. But yes.
While you're pulling up that real quick, hang on one sec here. Oh no. Oh, here it is. So you must have a longer poem written for it, I imagine.
No, whatever is in that description on that one is the length of it.
I'm sending you the link here in DM.
Okay,
right now.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.
We'll see if X allows me to leave the app without getting grumpy.
Don't do it. No. I always end up having like 3 X tabs open just so that I don't have to click the actual one that the space is in. Because, yeah, I have accidentally rugged a space that way before. Welcome to the space, guys. Thank you so much for being here, Stroke Driven. Thank you for joining us. Who else just joined? I see DV Ghost. Thank you for being here. B in the building. Thank you for being here. I was just looking over B's gem thread from back when he joined us. Really great artist. Thank you guys so much again for being here. Make sure to retweet the space. Let people know that we do this Artsy Friday every Friday of the month. And the last Friday of the month is our open call where anybody in the community can come chat.
Amazing. Okay, I've got it. I've got it locked and loaded. Here we go. Here lies the artist, dead from exposure, but never because a loss of composure. The changing of tides, exploiters gain closure to freedom on chain and a modern supposure. Poem.
See, like I would have just read that, but I wanted people to hear it in your tone. You do spoken word with its own charisma and like character and like signature. And that's something that if you have not tuned into Mal's, which space is it that you do the poetry?
Sonnet Sunday, which is generally on the final Sunday of every month at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We may be restarting that at the end of this month for like one, and then bumping it back again until July. We'll see how I'm feeling the day of. But I do have to get my roof ripped off. So I will not have adequate access to the internet while I am elsewhere. So, yeah, that's a thing. And I have had a chest infection since October of last year from the architect who came to my house. And so I have not had the stamina, honestly, to host the 19 spaces that I was doing before I got sick. And now we're down to 4. Which is the Tezos Tea Tuesday spaces. Those I've locked in regardless of how I'm feeling. Every week we get the news from Tezos and a lovely chat with folks in the community. But when I do have Sonnet Sunday spaces, I will post about it and you will be able to set your reminders and come join. Yeah, I have many a poem. If you have a topic, I can search my poetry file and pull up a poem about it, if that's of interest.
Actually, that sounds like maybe a perfect thing for a guest. If it when we have people coming up here in a moment.
I like this idea. I do like
Yeah.
this.
So
Sounds
anybody
good.
in the room that wants to come up and ask Mal some questions here in a moment, maybe think of a prompt so that we can
Mm-hmm.
find an on-the-spot poem to close out the space with here in a little bit.
That sounds great.
But before that, I also want to, you know, just just real quick, if you want to recap anything that you have going on that you need to do your obligatory promos for. I know that you've
Yes.
always got so much going on in the space, and I know most recently there's a lot of exciting news going on at TIA.
I'm gonna first promote, because I never do this. I'm gonna first promote my most recent piece, which is called Bucket List. It's on Teia. If you're interested, grab a copy. It is a photograph of clouds, which resemble a piece of lined paper, and an accompanying poem there as well. And if anybody wants to check me out on Twitch, you can do so at Malicious Sheep 56. I will be streaming in T-minus 2 hours from 5 until 9 p.m. Eastern Time today. We're going to be playing Majora's Mask, and I'm going to be running around with character voices and things.
I was going to say, are you going to be narrating?
I am going to be narrating. This is my bag. Everybody's got a character voice. Sometimes I cross them over by accident. Sometimes I'll start off and I'm like thinking that I'm doing the voice of a young girl, and in fact, it's a big burly man. I gotta switch it up real quick midline. Yeah, so that's always very fun. So come hang out, give me a cheeky follow over there, and share with a friend. Would love to hang out with folks and chat in the chat while I'm playing. It's gonna be fun. Teia things. Actually, before I do the Teia things, because that there's information there. But on my profile, I would request of the room, if you don't mind, can you please pump the tweet that I directed at Kayvon from Foundation regarding Jack Tezos tool, the archival and IPFS tool? Jack Tezos needs the API for Foundation, and then he can make it available to everybody who's on Foundation, who is now currently in panic mode because Foundation is closing, for everybody to be able to pin and archive their stuff. So if you could boost that post, that would be very much appreciated. Comment on it, tag the man, repost it, share with a friend, whatever you got to do, please do so that we can hopefully help artists who are over on that platform solve a very complicated problem very quickly.
I just went and found that and pinned it to the top as well.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
And so just to be clear on that,
yes.
Tezos people are essentially trying to save the day for
yes.
a bunch of Ethereum-based artists. And if we can do that, maybe we get some,
maybe we get some new friends.
Brownie points and new friends, yeah.
New friends, come on over. Tell them if anybody is on Foundation as well, and they're frustrated and they're thinking about leaving Web3, tell them to go to fountain.teia.art and get some seed funding for free, and they can start their journey over here if they would like. They'll get a drop from the fountain and, hang out in any of the spaces that our lovely Tezos folks host, and we can bring it back like it's 2021, and we can onboard everybody with all of the things.
Amen.
Help guide them.
I definitely still have hope. I think that it's possible. I see, where we are right now, the fact that there's so many people just grinding and passionately building things that they want to see. That's more bullish than any sort of metrics to me.
Exactly. All right.
It looks like we do have First Rain up as a speaker. I just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you for coming up, and we'll move into questions here in just a moment.
Amazing. Okay, so the Teia news. I'm also excited to hear your question, First Ring. Teia News. We have been graciously supplied a grant from the Tezos Foundation very recently, $30,000 USD, which will be given to us in segments. Currently, we have 10,000 USD in our treasury, which I think is somewhere around the range of like 25,000 XTZ, which is fabulous. We are in the process of accepting community event proposal ideas from community members to delineate some of those funds out to folks for events that promote Teia, Tezos, and the wonderful things that we all do here, as well as the artists who should be given a platform. It could be used for onboarding, could be used for all sorts of things. Get creative with it. If you have a proposal idea, you can fill out the form, which is pinned on the Teia community profile. There is a form there that is lengthy. You will need to submit a budget, and a design, an accessibility plan. There will be 2 sections of time. So between now and July is the first section, and the second section is August through December. Within each of those periods, there will be the requirement for Teia to facilitate 3 in real life events and 4 virtual events. Hybrid is also an option, with a minimum of 50 participants for in real life events and a minimum of 100 participants for virtual events, so that we can meet our goals. So when we hit our review period in July, and if we are successful with our first effort, then we will get the second part of our grant. And then we will start it all over again. So if you have a proposal idea that's maybe not going to take place between now and July, still submit it anyway, because there's an option for you to select for the second portion. And it will be very helpful for us organizing-wise to figure out where and what and who will be needed for all of that planning and things. The funding that will be provided is very modest, so do not expect $30,000, because that's going to be split up between 14 different events. So have a nice modest budget if you're looking to rent a projector, or maybe you need to rent a small space to host the event, things like that. Write it all down in your budget and we will be in touch. What will not be covered is labor. Labor will not be paid for, so do not expect it. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. You will be required to find a Teia core team multi-sig member to sponsor your idea, to bring this forward to the Teia core team for the core team to vote on, which then needs to meet quorum, which means a certain number of people need to say yes in order for those funds to be dispersed. Those funds will be dispersed in Tezos, like XTZ. It is your responsibility to switch that up into whatever currency is required for you to pay your invoices for the event. But Teia team members will help to enable you, and we will provide support and guidance and help organize and help with some of the labor, especially like IRL stuff. If you happen to be in the region where somebody happens to be, I'm sure they will be there. If you have volunteers in the community who you think might be on board with your idea and you want to get them involved, feel free. Teia is built on volunteer power. All of the Teia core team members are volunteer. None of us get paid. So if you would like to learn a new skill to add to your resume, this is a great opportunity. If you want to learn how to do PR, or maybe a little bit of dev work, or maybe a little bit of this or that, you can come and hang out and get involved with one of the projects. All the projects will be kept confidential until such time as they are deliberated on and more feedback is provided to the community member who submitted to perhaps adjust to make the design more feasible or more accessible, or to incorporate other layers, or maybe even combine events. Maybe there's two people who want to have an event in Glasgow, and they're planning on having it like 2 doors down from each other on the same weekend. Maybe we could combine everybody's efforts so we don't duplicate labor. That might be a good plan. But we're also focusing on equity deserving communities. So if you have a design for an event that helps to amplify any of those 5 groups, that's great. We love to see it. I hope that everybody does regardless, but maybe keep that in mind when you're coming up with your plan. So these groups include women and non-binary, 2S LGBTQIA+, racialized folks, the Global South, and the KIND community, CIND, which stands for chronically ill, immunocompromised, neurodivergent, and disabled. It is not required for that to be a part of your proposal. It is encouraged. It is not a disqualifier if that is not there. But that is one of teia's core values, is to provide support to those communities who are often algorithmically and otherwise punished for their existence. So if you can submit your proposal, regardless of what time of the year it's going to be in, before April 30th, I would love you very much, because that makes my job easier. And we can start working on things, because we only got a couple months. We got to get busy. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody has to offer for their ideas. I know we're going to have some fabulous events and have wonderful memories about it, and have wonderful documentation about it too. So I'm looking forward to that.
It's really wonderful to hear. I'm glad that there's some momentum starting there. And just to reiterate, this goes along with what we were saying about an opportunity to, make a positive, impactful impression in our space as Tezos people. This is a really good time to be loud for the right reasons, I guess you could say. So, let's use that motivation and get some events going, and really be present. But with that said, I don't want to leave you hanging too long for a strain. How are you doing today?
No worries. I love listening to Mal and all the passion. So
Absolutely.
it's all right. Yeah, I'm okay. Glad to hear more about Mal's art. So thank you for inviting them, and yeah, spread the word.
And I'm curious if you had, first of all, any questions for Mel, but also if you had thought of a prompt to help them decide which poem to read.
Well, both. But first of all, Mal, if you remember me, I can tell you how you can get closed captions on Twitch. But you have to remember me. My brain is scattered as hell.
Okay. Excellent. I love this.
Yeah. But I know how. So, anyway, question about your poetry. Well, like, oh boy, I had it phrased before. But in your process, right? Do you have like a preferred style of writing, or like a style from someone else that inspired you for your writing style? Yeah, like, how do you approach your writing, basically?
This is an excellent question. For anybody who doesn't know, I started writing poetry 3 years ago through the Jam, hosted by LM Designs 8 and Mindset Makes Money. And I started off as a listener, and then one day I wrote a poem, and then I never stopped. So my poetry, I think I read some Poe at some point. Like I don't I don't read poetry. I listen to music mostly. So like the poetic linguistics of music inspires me most, which is probably obvious when you hear me read, as most folks have pointed out. It's like music, and has like pacing similar to music. And I take a lot of inspiration from the craft of rap, in how the rhythm and pacing and weaving occurs within rap. I also just generally, like when I'm writing a poem, it's mostly just pouring out of my brain. Like most poems take an hour or less, even if they're a 10-minute poem. It'll just like come out of my brain. Usually what I'm doing with my poetry, I find it the most accessible medium, even more so than photography. It allows me to combine my thoughts on like a dozen different topics within a couple of lines. And so when you're listening to my poems and when I'm writing my poems as well, like there are many, 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 many layers in there that you could unpack for years probably. But usually what I'm doing when I'm writing one of my longer pieces is I'm amalgamating my experience of the global discourse and condensing it into a poem. And referencing layers of pop culture and the news and personal experience and nature and music and other mediums into a cohesive piece. And I'm usually pouring that out in a very short time. Usually when I'm writing as well, I'll start off with like a phrase that'll like pop into my head and it won't go away. And so I put it down on paper and then I just let it go. And then everything will kind of form into place rather lovely, in a lovely way. When I'm not writing about global discourse, I'm writing about time. I am a palimpsestic thinker, which means I see both, well, past, present, and future as a simultaneous experience in my current mode. So if you imagine somebody writes dog, then erases that on a blackboard, and then puts cat over top of that, and then erases that, and then puts mouse, you can see all three layers simultaneously. That's what my brain is doing with time. And so I try to capture that within my poetic experience as well. When I am creating nature-based works, I'm often describing things as though somebody is describing in detail, either it's been described to me as this is like as though I'm writing a like an audiovisual description mixed with a screenplay, which I take as a glorious compliment. And it's multisensory. And yeah, I think that covers it. I don't have like any particular writer that I follow. Like again, it's Poe, and like the other poem that comes to me frequently as like something that I have always enjoyed is The Cremation of Sam McGee, because I used to read that every year at Christmas. And if you haven't checked that out, check it out. I read it on occasion in my poetry space. But yeah, just Poe and The Cremation of Sam McGee. Not to say that I'm averse to reading other poems, but nothing has ever really stuck for me, and I've never had a fascination with it. It's just been a very accessible medium for me, because like the ideas that I want to get across in a painting, I do not have time to do so before the thing that I'm trying to focus on and communicate is changing. Whereas poetry is like an express route of communication for me for an artistic mode.
Thank you. And totally makes sense when thinking about all your poems. Thank you. Now I understand it a little bit more. I love that. So, also, just because you wanted a prompt, I would like that you read the piece where I always am holding my breath. I think you know what I mean.
Okay. Okay. Let me find it. Give me a minute. I gotta
Wow.
dive into the archives. Just give me a second here.
Right, and while Mal is looking for that, final invite to anybody that wants to come up and ask Mal Sheep any questions about their experience as an artist, as a community builder on Tezos, as a gamer, as a streamer, as an advocate for accessibility needs, disability dualship, community organizing, and scientist. There's so much that we could continue covering, and I'm sure that sometime in the near future we will have another chance to chat. But if you have any questions for Mal, now is the last call. Otherwise, we will allow some poetry and then close out. Hey, Sandy, how are you today?
Sandy, hi.
Hello, friends. Thank you, Tezos Commons, for having these amazing spaces. Thank you, Yoshi. And shout out and flowers to Mal. Quick question for you. Would you describe your poetry as stream of consciousness, kind of like William Faulkner? Do you think it would kind of fall into that realm or no?
Possibly. I would say stream of consciousness paired with like, I don't know if anybody else has this experience, but I know my brain works like this. I have like a stovetop in my brain of all of the things that I'm thinking about. And there's like 100 stovetops currently boiling all at the same time, or like 100 tabs are open. And so I'm trying to like clear off the stove a little bit. And poetry helps with that. So like it's the things that are like boiling in the back of my brain. And I'm getting them out. So if that counts, sure. But yes, more or less.
Great. And just a little prompt in case you're interested. I wanted to say, as above, so below. What do you make of this globe? Maybe you can do something with that. And thank you very much for letting me come up to speak with you. And very exciting. Looking forward to seeing all the proposals that you're going to be considering for Tezos. And the more time goes on, the more we realize Tezos is one of the most amazing platforms, if not the most amazing platform. Thank you very much.
Absolutely well said. Great question. And I just want to kind of parrot off of something you just said before we move forward, which is that what we're looking at right now is a perfect example of something we should hold awareness for as community. And that's that Mal and the volunteers that operate TIA are just artists like you and me that have now been given the opportunity to curate with the ability to enable. And it is within a set of limitations that are out of their control. And there is no reason or excuse. I don't want to see it on the timeline. People attacking our friends for the decisions they have to make based off of grants. Money can get really ugly, but never forget that these are human beings. So I just had to really drill that one home because we see it more and more. But thank you so much for that. And Red,
This
I
is
see
why I
you
love
up
bartering.
here. Right? Exactly. But Red, how are you today? Thank you for coming up.
I'm sorry. I literally thought this space didn't start until like 18 minutes ago. Don't hate me, Yoshi. Um, but you know, I know Mel does a lot for the community. And before asking her a question, I wanted to express my gratitude because of her and Ryan explaining to me about how to use Teia properly. Guys, do not judge because I wasn't doing it right before. I was confused, but now thanks to them clearly explaining it last week, I was able to put my first piece on Teia thanks to you guys, and I'm gonna put another one today. But like in terms of Tezcon, which I'm getting on Fendel's case for making sure he DMs me the next time he does a space about that. I know that you are really active planning different things for accessibility and, and or whatever. I shouldn't even like assume, but I know that that's something that you're a huge advocate for. Um, is there anything that us in the community can do towards that? Because I feel like it's not an obligation, right? I have a responsibility, I think, to do whatever I can do to, help with that. And if there's other things that we can make other people in the community aware about that they can help you with for Tezcon, let's do it. I need to be doing that for you guys.
Amazing. We love the accessibility track. At least I do. There's lots that folks can do for accessibility within the community. So explaining things in plain language is really helpful, especially for the auto-translate function on here. But just in general, comprehension of complex details. Metaphors are really good examples that you can give for folks to provide context of complicated themes. You can, if you're posting an image, you can use alt text, which I really need to do more. There's just been.
I don't even know what alt text is.
Okay.
If I'm being completely honest with you.
Fair. Okay, so alt text, when you're adding a image as a post, there's a little prompt in the bottom corner that says ALT. In there, you have 5,000 words or characters. I think maybe it's words or characters. I think it's characters that you can put further context of what is there. So, for example, I love to use this example because it's so funny. Say I post a picture of sunflowers, big, beautiful sunflowers, blue sky in the background. But somebody who is not sighted won't be able to see the context of that and will only be able to see the text written. And say the text that I put in association with this picture was, wow, look at how big they are. They look great. The person who is not sighted is not going to be able to combine those two things because they just simply do not have access to the image for obvious reasons. So all they get is that tiny little chunk. But say you use the alt text, you can put photograph sunflowers, yellow on blue background of sky. You could even add in other details like the type of sunflower if you really want to get granular with it. You can do this even with abstract. You can just mention the colors or the mood or the flow. You can use this to describe like if you make a recipe and you don't have enough room to put the entire recipe because you only got the 250 character limit in the tweet, you could put that in the alt text. And the alt text is used by screen readers, which read aloud to the person who is non-sighted what is the context of what is in there. Another update for Teia, we now have alt text screen readable capability on the entire site, which is fabulous. Thank you, Zoot, for helping me with that. So folks who are not sighted are now able to access the thing. When it comes to events, consider where you're hosting your event. Is there a ramp to get into the building if somebody's in a wheelchair or who has a cane? I myself have been unable to access most physical spaces because of this. So if there happens to be a space that you're considering, maybe choose the one that has the ramp available or an accessible bathroom or doorways that a wheelchair could fit through. That is very, very helpful for folks who want to be able to participate but are often just not even considered and just simply locked out of community spaces because of that. If you are hosting an in real life event, consider doing a hybrid event where you have a virtual element where folks who cannot make it for any reason are able to still participate in some way. This could be, maybe you can only you only have capacity to do a recording of the event. That's at least something. Or if you could do a live stream of it, amazing. Even better if you can have like active engagement between people who are online and in real life. Because this allows folks who may have childcare duties, elder care duties, school, work, who are multiply disabled, who are unwell, who are like me, a bubble person who cannot go anywhere to be able to participate. So if you're organizing an event, consider the ways in which you can provide more access, hence accessibility, to the people who otherwise won't be able to attend. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So it's helpful to do a little bit of research. Maybe ask a disabled peer in the space what they have seen that has worked. Understand that not every disabled person wants to do unpaid labor. So maybe do a Google search, because that will also help. There have been many examples of beautiful accessible events that have been created and perpetuated around this lovely globe of ours. So there are many references, usually preliminarily designed by disabled people, are the ones that you're kind of going to want to focus on, because they and their peers have talked to each other. We know what our limitations are based on the way that this this globe and architecture and things have been designed. There are many other ways, but get creative with it. Anticipate that you don't know the answer. Sometimes doing more research or asking somebody may be helpful. A great way to start off that conversation is if you're planning to do an event or you have a form for even something like a Zoom call, like a webinar or something, have a field in your form that says, do you have any accessibility needs? And then people will tell you, which is very helpful. The number of times that I've had to do that labor myself, and I will do that labor myself, but other peers who just don't feel comfortable asking because they've been reprimanded often for asking for accessibility adjustments or support. Sometimes folks have just honestly given up and just make their own spaces. So if you want to incorporate folks who need accessibility supports, add that as a field in forms as a starting point. And think about ways that your tools or your events or your work, if you're an artist, how can you make that more accessible to folks who may not have all of the abilities that you might have, be it sight, be it sound, be it touch, be it sensory, whatever it happens to be that you're trying to get across as a creator. How might you explore that differently if you're considering people who won't be able to see that or hear that or feel that? So all thoughts.
See, something interesting about this that I kind of want to just add as a closing thought is like this should be no different than the reflection in general of how do I get this message I believe behind this art that I've made from my heart to the most people in the most ways where they can attach and connect and be part of it with me. And so the point is that like this isn't some like special request. It's just a point. It's just pointing out that it's being overlooked as something that we already naturally do as humans. You know, like especially as artists.
Yeah.
So I just want to like that's something I'm saying for myself too, is like really like these are just more potential friends that are not giving the opportunity to connect to what we're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes like, well, sometimes I say sometimes, most of the time, there are accessibility tools designed for disabled folks to be enabled to participate in new ways. But often those things don't get funding, and therefore they become a commercialized toy for non-disabled people. So things like touchscreens or tools such as closed captioning. Like YouTube had the closed captioning technology like 15 years ago, and they only put it into place a couple years ago because it wasn't seen as something that would be profitable. But I'm sure anybody who enjoys watching reels on apps with the sound off while they're, maybe on the train or like, in the corner of a party or something, it's too loud for you to hear. You've got the closed captions. You can still see what's going on. It's accessible. It's providing you with the information and the access to the thing that you would otherwise not be able to do because of your current circumstance. And a reminder to everybody, 20% of the global population is disabled, and you can become disabled at any time. It is likely and probable that before you die, you will become disabled. So it is in your interest to advocate while you have the energy, the capacity for yours and everyone else's sakes. So I appreciate very much, Red, your interest in learning more.
Absolutely.
No, I appreciate you. I'm going to actually post the alt text today. To be honest with you, I think Ryan and I think Fendel is also helping organize Tezcon. I think that they have, like, I trust their vision to really incorporate all of this stuff for Tezcon. But now I'm going to, because of you, now every time I post something like where I mint something new, I'm going to be able to put some alt text in there. Which is cool, and I appreciate it. And I don't want to like keep yapping because I'm the dumbass who showed up like an hour late or something because whatever.
To be fair, it's actually that I, for my own scheduling needs and health, ignore the time change.
That's fair. I do the
So-
same, so I am appreciative of it being this time.
So it's this Artsy Friday is always at 2 p.m. Eastern. So that's what you're feeling, is that changed for others, and I just kind of just kept promoting it as the time that it shows. So not your
we
fault.
lose an hour. We lose an hour, and it used to be for farming purposes, so that the children could harvest the things and to plant the seeds.
Yeah, it was all for child labor anyway. Screw this
It was
time
for
change
child
thing.
labor. That's what it was for. And now there really isn't the need for that. Hopefully, maybe some of the laws that are being proposed right now won't go through. So if anybody's paying attention to that in your local area, make sure they don't legalize child labor again, because some of the places have already done so.
Well, I don't know, like pretty much all our clothes that are being made from some child in a sweatshop for 12 to 14 hours is like,
exactly.
it's pretty like obscene. So it's like, when I
Exactly.
used to be like, oh, I'm buying something and it's not from China. And it's like, yeah, but if it was made by some kid in a sweatshop in Indonesia, it doesn't exactly make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Okay. Wow. I'm so inappropriate as per usual, just with my tone.
Well, you're also not wrong.
Yeah. And it just takes just a little bit of research goes a long way, I find. I found many brands that I would have never otherwise come across because they're not promoted in like the malls for obvious reasons, but that are exquisite, like the best cloths that are not made by children. It's nice. They're durable. They're long lasting.
This has been
if you do like a whole site, not site, what is wrong with me? If you do like a whole space on these different clothing brands, I mean, I would love to like attend it, because here's the thing, like, I don't buy clothes very often. Like, I'm one of those people that is like married to my clothes, because like the fashion industry is so dirty, as we all know. I mean, I don't really need to like harp it and make everybody feel worse. I mean, that's part of the reasoning for it. But, since I do get married to my clothes, and I've had some clothes for 20 years, 30 years, wow, I'm kind of proving that I'm old. That's okay. Who gives a fuck? We're all going to die anyways. But I mean, like, if there's other clothing brands that you support and you think that they're good and you want to do a space on it, or if you just post links to it, I mean, then that's something to like look forward to anyways, because since I'm going to marry my clothes anyways, and and even reupholster them if I'm really in love with them, if I can, you know, I mean, like, why not support
Red,
something that's not bullshit?
if you
Yeah.
want to get super, super fired up about this topic, I suggest checking out the documentary called Buy Now on Netflix.
Well,
It,
is it going to give me options, or am I just going to be pissed off and want to shoot people? I mean, I'm not that
uh,
violent, but you get the
it,
point.
it's both. It's a very, very well done, well rounded view of just how screwed up consumerism is, and it really just gets you to think about things like fast fashion, like you were saying, and you know, going back to appreciating things because they exist before you just need something new. Because at the end of the day, yeah, it's pretty horrifying, the piles upon piles of worn once or maybe not even purchased, and they're discarded to protect the bottom line. It's a whole thing. We could have a whole space on it, but we're already running a little late for today's. But
Look, I'll
Perhaps
do
it's
it with you, like, or I'll show up to it and I'll promote it if you guys want to do it. Like, that's why some people, if you guys really want to do it, like, I'll promote it if you want to do it ahead of time. If not, if you just want to DM me some links, that's fine too. But like, there are some people that feel like they would like to do some stuff with fashion on blockchain. I haven't really seen anyone, you know, do anything successful with it yet. But just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it can't happen. Doesn't mean that we can't, you know, at least, you know, we not at least, but doesn't mean we can't do better. Like, you know,
yeah,
Mal, one of the things that Mal, like you said right now, that just, it made my blood boil, was that the closed captioning on YouTube was available for 15 years. Sorry, I'm yelling because I'm pissed. And they just recently released it for people. Do you know how irritating that is? Of course you do.
yes.
But so yeah, I need to stop yelling. I'm getting pissed off, and we need to turn this energy into constructive energy.
Well, fire is needed. The passion of
absolutely.
fire is motivating to make change. So,
The-
so long as your nervous system is not in a constant state of hyperarousal and it's causing you distress, use the fire in a good way. Use it to motivate you to do
Exactly.
what you need and to advocate for things that you think are needed. It's good.
And with that, I will say that one little plug. I wrote an article last week about everything in moderation and balance, and it's just a think piece that very much aligns with needing to, you know, manage ourselves and moderate our frustrations and passions and put that energy into the right place.
Everything. Go ahead, finish, Yoshi.
In moderation.
I was gonna say, in its right place.
Guys, thank you so much for being here for another Artsy Friday. We are going to close out here in a moment with Mal reading us some poetry, if you're still okay with that.
Of course.
And thank
Very
you
much
so
so.
much for being here, y'all. It's been a beautiful room, and we'll be back next week. Just one thing I want to remind everybody about is that to make sure to nominate people for the Tezos Community Rewards Program. It is a great way to make sure that people that are going above and beyond continue being able to do so. And Mal and the Teia community are a great example of just regularly nominate them. They're always here, always could use it. So thank you guys so much again, as always, for being here and making it possible and giving the artists and the builders that come up here a place to speak and an audience to speak to. With that being said, Mal, have you picked out and do you have a poem ready for us?
I do. Before I start into it, just want to remind everybody that I'm going to be streaming on Twitch at 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can check me out over there at MaliciaSheep56. If anybody is interested, I am a generalist for hire. I'm also a death and disability doula. So if you are looking for support or strategy or, you know, whatever. Multidisciplinary, everything. Hit me up in the DMs, and I look forward to chatting with you. So, here we go. We'll get into my poem, which is titled, Can You Hear It? This piece was accepted, is one of two pieces that I wrote, which was accepted to the Cicero collection. And the theme was quantum poetry. So this is that piece. So, can you hear it? The static pulse, the ripple, the wave, the noise and cacophony, harmonic, intermingling with the darkness and the light and the void of the expanse. Do you hear the symphony of colors merging and blending upon the folds of time flickering, fluttering into view in mind? As words dance from lips and from tongues and from scripts of encoded expression, do you taste the time between in waiting, in wanting, in pensive pattern, as it folds upon itself fluid? As the memory decays with every recollection and transformation of then, now, and when in this moment. The patina of touch, sensations that bristle and soothe with lingering subtlety upon your vessel. Does the vortex that forms with every beat of your heart call with longing? Along the threads bound in our tapestry, the pluck as harpstring resonant, echoing, cascading through your bones, to the nerves, to the flesh, when I speak to you as I weave. Sense gently wafting into your senses of moments you can't quite place, that have been misplaced in mind with time, tantalizing. Do those chemical blends derive meaning for you in the dark, in the light, the spectral cascade of the knowing you feel deep in your marrow, that echoes to ancestors long cycled back through, feeding as dust into the foundations of your reality, of your memory? Does your mind quiet or busy in the silence? Did you hold your breath when the waves of my timbre ceased? Was it a moment for you, a quiet reflection of halting, or an eternity where bloomed a vastness of fractalized loom to weft and warp through time and space with bright-eyed building? Does the calligraphy of my tongue and breath form knowing or wonder, or the pull of our thread gently tug at your shadow? When you wander, is sonder in your frame? Do you sense the expansive complexity of each life around you, how the flora and fungi speak in tongues you don't know, how each one you meet is laced in the flow of time? Energetic exchange from the stardust as scattered to planets that swarm to stars deep in fission as black holes are formed to the coding by chance canonically stored on helix and chain to randomized lore. Each generation crawls and claws at the clutch. Breach federation falls to claws at the touch of intervention chaotic, of irradiated seed, Fibonacci hypnotic, the pattern to heed. As the sun births our life, all is one and the same. Who are you now? Do you remember your name? The sidereal sonnet that plays out before us, the stars realign in an intricate honest that comes from the atoms that collide in the vastness of now. Poem.
I love it so much. Thank you. Thank you. Right what I needed, and yes, I did hold my breath again.
Yeah, and especially after hearing your description of how you write, and the fact that it's more like musically influenced, which I really appreciated. I was able to kind of hear that that in a different flow, in a different way, almost with my own accompaniment in my mind. Really, really great poem.
I appreciate you.
And again, thank you guys so much for being here for another Artsy Friday with our guest Mal Sheep. Make sure to follow, make sure to check out all the wonderful photography that you can discover. Make sure to tune into the stream in a couple of hours if you can. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Red, for coming up in First Rain. I appreciate you both, and Sandy as well. Everybody for being here. If you want to come by next week, we're going to be here same time, same place for a community call where anybody's welcome to come up and share what they're building or working on or creating on Tezos and just share some of your story. We'd love to hear from you. We are currently booking into May with a couple spots available. So maybe if you have interest in that, we can have you come up next week and get a little bit of a sample. So thank you guys so much again. Appreciate everyone. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. And just keep being artsy. Love y'all. Take care.
Alrighty, I think that's it for me. I'm gonna take off here. Oh, maybe I... Actually, I may wait another hour and restream. Oh no, I'm not gonna be back to shut it down. Never mind.